Hello everyone and welcome to the first teaching tip of the week. So I'm focusing on teaching yin yoga this week, and if you head over to amyyoga.com and go over to my blog, you will see I've written a new blog post where I ask the question, is teaching yin yoga easy? Now on the surface we could be like, hell yeah. There's no Sanskrit, there's way less poses, it's a floor-based practice, the only standing pose is the dangle. There's far less focus on alignment, and within an hour's class, I'm probably needing to think about 8 or 10 poses at maximum. So on the surface, yin yoga could be considered easy. I happen to disagree, and one of the challenges of yin yoga is there are 3 5-minute holds, and what are we doing within the space of these holds as a teacher? So my first tip for you is, this is just actually going to help you full stop with your planning of yin yoga, but definitely help you verbally support your students within the hold. I really love to work with themes. So I want you to think of your theme as like the title of a book. And then each yin shape is the chapter, which is helping you to tell your story, helping you to relate back to the title of your book. So you're not just meandering from one yin pose to the other, but it also gives you a verbal focus, something you can direct your students' attention towards. I will give you an example. So I like to work, one of my favorite themes is, what's your weather? So you can ask your students what their weather is, how are they feeling? Then as you come to each shape, each yin shape, you can reassess how that feeling, that experience of the pose is affecting the weather. Perhaps it's a simple anatomical focus. I have been doing this a lot in my own yin teaching recently. We've been focusing on the back body, the sideways, the front body, the upper body and shoulders, the pelvis. Now, a little caveat here, nothing in the body is local. Every movement we make is global, but it can work really well to have a focus area. And then that not only helps you to draw attention to that focus area within the yin shape, but also helps you in constructing where you may be going because you're trying to focus on a particular area. Then guide your students. Tip number 2, guide your students through the silence, or better still, into it and then out of it. So I will again give you an example. So we've come to that archetypal yin pose, butterfly, and we're going to do it for 5 minutes. My focus is paying attention, and we're paying attention to the sensations of the stretch, paying attention to where I'm feeling the stretch, paying attention to, am I at my edge? Is that edge shifting? So you can see how the title of my book, my theme, paying attention, is helping me verbally support my students. Then I've waffled, not hard for me by the way, I've waffled for 2 or 3 minutes, and there's 2 minutes left in this hold. I will then say, I will verbally leave you alone for 2 minutes, or there will now be 2 minutes of silence. So I guide my students in so they know. And this is particularly useful if you're teaching yin yoga online, because sometimes silence, people can be like, is she meant to be silent or has she frozen? But even in person, like knowing how long the silence is makes you feel comfortable in the silence. It's not an awkward moment of, how long is this going to go on for? Then I also lead them out. So as I'm coming towards the last few seconds of that 2-minute silence, I will lead them out with the breath. 3 more breaths, or if I've left it too long, 1 more breath. So they're my yin yoga teaching tips. Have a theme, something that unites everything you do within that class to the chapter, to the story of your book. Think of each yin pose as your chapter, and then allow there to be silence and facilitate that by guiding your students into it, let them know there's going to be silence, how long it's going to be, and then guide them out of it by a cue back to the breath. So if you'd like to find out more about my ramblings on teaching yin yoga, head over to my blog post at amyyoga.com. And if you'd like to come to class or you'd like to train to be a yin yoga teacher, again, just head over to my website. I will see you all next week for my next teaching tip.